Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again.
It's time for the J. Craig 5, maybe 10-minute movie review. Captain Marvel is directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Now, I'm not familiar with their work, so shame on me for not doing my due diligence. It stars Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, or Carol Danvers. It has Nick Fury, Sam Jackson, Annette Bening, Jude Law, and Ben Mendolson, and a couple other people who I won't mention unless you're looking at the credits. And shame on you. Now, this movie takes place in the 90s, and it's going to tie into the Marvel Universe. However, it's not necessary to see this movie in order to see the Endgame. So the elements do not tie in directly, but the universes overlap, and we get the connection. Now, there are two main elements that they connect. One I won't mention because I was surprised by it. The second is what you see at the end of Infinity War. The pager that Nick Fury has, that has the Captain Marvel logo, that's brought back in, and so now we understand that. This movie, as it came out, I was not expecting much. I wasn't anticipating a lot. I really didn't care about this movie. I don't know the character, so I wasn't excited like I was for Wonder Woman. But I also felt the movie just looked kind of lackluster. It looked very pedestrian, and I wasn't sold on Brie Larson as the star of this movie. So let's start right there. Brie Larson, I think, is miscast. I think she is a very good actress, but she's trying really hard in this movie. She put a lot of effort and a lot of work in it and time in this movie. But I think she's just miscast. She doesn't have the star power, the presence, the charisma, or the comedic timing for this movie. And they write her as a jokester, trickster kind of, smartass, and it just falls flat every time. So I think she definitely hurts the movie as far as being someone that's captivating you, that you're along for the ride, that you can't wait to see more of. I wasn't following her necessarily. I was following just the story as opposed to the main character's journey. I wasn't buying into it. And the other culprit is the direction. Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden. Again, I don't know their work, but what they lacked in this movie was any sense of aha moments. And in every good superhero movie, any good action movie, you got to have the aha moments. Moments that you take home with you, that you nudge your friend, and whoa, did you see that? Things that you remember that are burned in your retinas that you can't stop thinking about. There's none of those. Maybe one moment like that, but it's very few and far between here. So that, as well as, so there's no sizzle, but then there's also no reveals, no good reveals. So not every director can do this. It's a talent. Some can do it, some can't. J.J. Abrams, Force Awakens, he can't do reveals. So every single reveal in that movie is blown. They even play the Falcon as a joke. But look at Solo in the reveal of the Falcon. It's done properly. That's Ron Howard. He knows how to do a reveal. J.J. Abrams doesn't. So, but you need those in a superhero movie. Character, villain, superpowers, a weapon, a setup and a payoff reveal. You don't have those moments in this movie, and I think it hurts it from being spectacular or special. That, as well as the first half of the movie, was a bit of a hard watch. It takes a long time to get going. It has a hard time finding its feet. So the first half, direction-wise, it's a bit all over the place, and I was kind of bored with the first half. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a long ride. Thankfully, the second half of the movie finds its feet and takes off, and I really enjoyed it. Thankfully, too, Nick Fury, the Skrulls, the cat. I didn't say Captain Marvel. She gets better throughout the movie as far as what her powers can do, but it's those three elements that make the second half work. And it's a good fun time from that second half on. I really enjoyed it. So it saved the movie from being super mediocre to being just okay. All right, so we got Brie Larson, we got the direction. Let's talk about the Skrulls. So the Skrulls are something that I know about. I read the comics. I had theories, predictions. I had an idea where they were going to go with this and maybe go where they were going to go in different movies. Well, let's just say I might have to throw those out the window and come up with some new theories. But I do like what they were doing with the story, and I do like what they did with the Skrulls. Okay, so it's a nice twist, and I was okay with it. It works, but it just didn't gel with where I think they were going to go with it. But hey, that's okay. So let's finally talk about the messaging here. I think this is getting on a lot of people's skin, typically men. This is not an anti-men movie. This is not an anti-white men movie. That's their demographic. They need, obviously women are a huge portion of this movie. They want to get into the theater, but, it's a comic book movie from Marvel. Why would you try to, exclude white males? So, but I don't think it's an anti-men movie. It definitely has a social message, and I'm okay with that. All good stories come from something, inspired by something, and this one's inspired by the she will persist. The fact that standing up in the face of adversity, in this case, men, telling you can't do it, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're just a girl, that standing up and continuing and persisting is the point of the story. And it drives it home, especially at the end, and it's a little in your face without, it's not subtle, let's put it that way. Like, Wonder Woman is subtle about the fact of women becoming stronger and believing who they are and accepting that, and finding that power. So this movie is about finding the power within as well, but it's a little more overhanded, a little more in your face about that, and I think that's why people don't like it. It's a little bit more, it's not subtle in that regard. But there's a great moment at the end where she keeps standing up over the course of her life and persisting, and then people telling her she couldn't do it and couldn't do it and couldn't do it and shouldn't do it. And that's what this movie's about, and I'm okay with that. And it's not an anti-men movie. Get over it, guys. It's a movie that's going to speak to certain people. It's going to speak to a demographic, but I still enjoy the story, and I think it has a good message. It doesn't have to affect me as a message, but I understand the message, and I'm okay with it. But it's not a political movie. It's got a social message, because that's what's going on right now. But all movies have something they're inspired by. This one just happens to be that. Now, you have to stick around for the 2 credit sequences. The first one is the most important one. The second one at the very end of the credits, that one is always played as a joke. It's always a funny little scene that doesn't really do anything for the movie, but I definitely recommend it. It's nice. It's a nice finish to the movie. So ultimately, if you're going to go see a movie this weekend, I'd recommend Alita. I think that movie is superior. It's another strong female character without beating you over the head with the message, right? I think that's where people are getting turned off by it. It's beating you over the head with the message. Okay. It's not subtle. But in the end, it's an okay movie. It's just okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just okay. It's a C. I'm going to give it a C. But if you're going to see a movie, go see Captain Marvel. It's fantastic. Or go see Alita. It's a fantastic movie, and I think you'll really enjoy that. So if you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button over here. Like and follow the J. Craig Podcast. Get all our movie reviews, all of our podcasts, and all of our tutorials, and everything else that we come up that's crazy. So keep on watching, keep on listening, and we'll see you next time.